So a couple of days ago, I worked on the Dreamers' new identity. The DreamHacks is a design community currently on WhatsApp actually, and yeah, so we needed a brand refresh, and so we had to do certain things in line with the Dreamers, and today we have a new identity. But when I shared the grid lines for this identity, which is this, some of you wanted a tutorial on how it was created, and that is why I'm creating this tutorial. And just to let you guys know, I'm almost wrapping up with my brand design course, which will be available in a couple of months actually. So you would be finding more of these resources and more videos in it. But let's get back to what we're doing. So today we're going to be recreating this logo, and some of you wanted to know how I had these lines going around. There's a setting for this, but I actually did it manually, and I'm going to show you how that was done. So I'm just going to reduce the size of this, keep it up here, and then all you need to do next, I'm assuming you already know how to use all of these tools, and if you don't know, you can just hover on them, and Adobe is going to actually give you a sample video over here on how to go over these tools, how to actually use these tools. And I'm going to be working more with shapes, and I'll be working with the circle and the line tool for this particular logo design. All right, the first thing I did was right click on your board and come to show grid. All right, show grid, and I have this grid, and which was very much perfect for what I wanted to do, so I went with it. All right, so this grid has boxes. You can see all of these boxes, and even inside of the boxes we have these extra smaller boxes. When I zoom in, you see more boxes. As I zoom, you keep seeing them, so it has more boxes. All right, so I will be working more with the major boxes, the ones that are more visible outside of it. This is very simple, right? I'm just giving you a bit of logic around it before I go straight into redesigning this. All right, so the first thing that you need to do, or the second thing you need to do, is actually go to the view. Once you come to view, go to guides, and sorry, not guides, snap to grid. So do that. This is so that whatever you draw would snap to the grid. Like if I'm drawing let's say a box, it's following the grid. You can see what's happening. It's taking it one step at a time. So this helps me position things in a way that they'll be well calculated. All right, so if I want to draw a square, if I do it this way, in order for me to know that this is correct, I can come to the property channel and check on, look at the width and height over here, and you'd see that they are equal. All right, I can do that, but normally you will not be able to do this. You can see they are equal. Whichever way I want to draw it, it's going to be definitely equal if I follow the grids. All right, I have to bring this one down, bring this downwards, and then take this one to the left, and you can see that's equal 720 by 720. All right, so that is how we use the grid, and ensuring that the snap to grid is there is very important. So if you miss that, you can just take this video backwards and see how I did it. Or let's do that again. I'll click on view at the top, scroll down to snap to grid, and it's going to snap to grid. Mine is turned on, that means it's actually on at the moment. All right, let's proceed. Now the next thing I would do is to actually create bring in my samples. All right, so before I created the logo, I had to sketch on paper. I had like a lot of sketches, but at the moment I don't work with my sketches in Illustrator. I can just work with my logo looking at the sketch on paper, but I always sketch to get out my ideas. So while I'm looking at paper, I'm working and I know exactly what to do. But if you're the kind of person that, exactly when I was starting out, I would always snap it and bring it into my file. So I don't have it. If not, I would have brought it into the file so you can see what the sketch looks like. But yeah, I'll try to fix it in this video. If I can't, I'm sorry about that, but would proceed. The next thing you're supposed to do is bring in that file and then start drawing on it with your grid lines to get out all of the sizes, all of the shapes, and get it to be accurate enough before you proceed to vectorizing those grid lines that have been joined together. So to proceed, I would go to my circle tool because I need circles. So let's assume this is the sketch. I need circles, so I'll go to this tool, right click and choose ellipse tool. Now I first off want to draw a big circle, so I'm going to draw it from this point actually. So I'm going to just move this out. I'm going to draw it from this point to somewhere like here, so it's going to be this way. All right, so I'm going to choose the circle tool. I'll come here, click on it, hold shift. I'm holding shift so that I can get an equal size circle, and that is that 864 by 864. That's the size. I don't need it to be a fill, if not I won't see what is going on inside of it. I need it to be a stroke, so go up here. If you don't have this panel, just go to your windows and click on control. If I click on control, it disappears. If I come back and click on control under windows, it appears. So go up there. I like it, it's more accessible for me. You can also see it here, but I prefer to use the top because I have more options in regards to the stroke weight and everything. There's no stroke weight because there's no stroke weight turned on, so we'll turn it on. I'll put it on black and then I'll turn off the fill. Now I can increase the stroke weight to whatever I like, but we're going to leave it at 1 point. All right, so 1 point is perfect because it sits very well on that line. You can see the line over here, so it sits very well on the line. Now if you're wondering how I'm zooming out and zooming in very quickly, I'm using a mouse, and then if I have to zoom in back or zoom out back, I just press Ctrl plus O, and if you're using a MacBook, it's going to be Command plus O. So once you hit that, it zooms back. What I mean is when I zoom in this way, all right, I can click and press O and it brings me back to the viewpoint. All right, now the next thing I'll do is just continue with my idea of creating the logo. So I'm actually going to draw up a circle. I won't draw up a circle, sorry. I'll click on this circle. To duplicate it is Ctrl C plus Ctrl F. So I've done that. It copies and pastes it in front, not just copying it and pasting. You can do that with Ctrl C and Ctrl V and it will still work, but I needed to paste it in front. Whichever way, I always use this. So it's going to come in handy when you're working on a more elaborate project. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. I would hold shift from this angle and I'll move it upward. Now I'm going to move it upward till it fills these boxes. Now you can see the box it has filled. So it has filled 1 2 3 4 and 1 2 3 4. So I like it. It's perfect for what I want to work on. I'll click on this frame and then I'll bring in my arrow. All right, I'll keep it at the center. I want to always remember where the center is. Now if you don't have the arrow turned on, just press Control arrow, it will hide it, or Control arrow and it will show it. All right, so whichever one you want to do is fine. All right, then I'll bring the arrow from the top horizontally and place it here. Now I know my focal point for this design and I'll proceed with the rest of the thing. So what I did next was to take this, Ctrl C, Ctrl F, and you can see it's sitting on this line. So I clicked on it actually, held Alt to duplicate, moved it down, hold shift and take it down till it snapped on that line. Now you can see this is snapping at the top of the end point of the main circle, and I did the same thing. So hold both of them. If you want to move both of them, move it, hold shift while I hold Alt and move it to the end. You can see it's snapping, so it gives me a perfect shape. Now for the other one, I'm going to move it 2 steps upward, so it's going to shoot above this whole entire circle and shoot upward. So I'm going to bring this in. I'll duplicate this to the center, and then I'll move it upward. You know what, I think I missed one point, so let's take this back again. Sorry about that, I missed the calculation. So we're going to do this again. Click on this, Ctrl C, Ctrl F. All right, and I'll move it upward. Now it's going to be more than 4. 1 2 3 4 5. Yes, it's going to be more than 4. That's 5. And then we'll do the same thing. So we're just doing basically the same thing. Hold all of them and move this. Sorry. Let's move this downwards and then do the same for this. Okay, and then we can now do the same for the middle. So duplicate this, Alt, move it to the middle. Now it's in the middle, and then we're going to move it, think about 2-step, 1 2. Yes, 2-step works for this. So we're going to do the same thing downwards. Sorry, click on this, duplicate it, and then we're going to take it. That's all. So 1 2. All right, we're going to do the same for this point. So bring this downwards, let it touch that line, and then move it inside. 1 and 2. Awesome. And we'll do the same for this other part. 1 and 2. So this was actually, I'm showing you how I created it. This was how I actually went about it. All right, and let me take that arrow out. All right, and after that I had to put in the arrows. So I'll just bring this in here a bit. I had to put in the arrows. So how do we go about the arrows? The arrows are lines. So choose the line tool, go to the shape tool, choose line segment, and I'm going to draw the lines. So the lines have to be very big, so that it can cover the spacing in the circle. All right, so I'll use the eyedropper tool to pick the color from the stroke of the circles so that it shows here. All right, with that, select this and then move it downwards this way. Great. 1 2 3 4. So we have 4 of this. The major thing is adjusting this. All right, so you have to always adjust, and I'm doing this live, so you need to understand that it might not be the main calculation. We can always readjust before we create the final result. All right, so I'll take one of these lines, just hover on it, press Ctrl C, Ctrl F, and I'll flip it this way. Sorry, this way actually. Move it in a bit to somewhere around here. Yes, that is perfect. And then I'm going to duplicate it, Ctrl C, Ctrl F. Now I'm going to come to my property channel over here. You can see flip vertically. Now it flips it this way, forming an X. So we click on that, forms an X, and then we can take that downwards till we get to that point where it is. All right, so that's the point where it is at this point. That's the arrow we are going for. All right, and then we can now do the final thing. I'm going to actually select these two and move them in a bit. So I'm just going to drag them to this point. All right, we have that curve already for this part and for this part. So the only thing we need now is a straight line. So just hold, click on the line tool, the line segment tool, and just draw a line, and we are done. All right, so this cuts in here, so this other line. Awesome. So it cuts there and cuts in here, and we have our arrow formed. Awesome. So we are done with our grid lines, and what I like to do after creating the lines is to duplicate it, so that if I have any issues while vectorizing it, I can come back to the original piece and create something, make the adjustment or create something more dynamic. So select all of them, hover on them. I'll deselect the logo because the logo was also selected. Hold shift and alt and resize it. Now while you're resizing it, there's no reason actually, it's just because I want to focus more on this stuff, and I can be able to like zoom in and out when I want. So while doing that, I'm going to actually get rid of this line. Cool. Select all of them. So hover on all of them this way. I've selected all of them, and there's a tool we're going to use called the shape builder tool. So click on the shape builder tool over here, and then with the shape builder tool you can build whatever you want to build out of this piece. Alright, but there are two ways I work with the shape builder tool. One is with the fill color, so I can click on the fill. As I draw, it fills it up with colors. And the second one is for me to actually know that, especially when I'm trying to derive an idea, I'm trying to build an idea and I've not really fully understood or decided on an idea, then I work without the fill. So what it will do is it will eliminate those lines while I draw. So I'm just clicking, left clicking and dragging, nothing more. I'm not doing anything extra. If you want to delete something like this line in here, hold alt, your mouse, you see your mouse will change from plus to minus if I hold alt. So come to this and press hold alt and left click, hold alt and left click, and it disappears. But you don't need to do that actually. So just continue drawing your shape. And I've missed this part because I was focusing on something else. So we're going to go back again, do this, right, and we're going to do it for the rest of it. So we have this curve here, so we're going to take that curve, take it here, take here, awesome, take here, move it this way, take here. So the idea is to first isolate our idea, which is the arrow inside, but my idea wasn't to form an actual arrow like the regular native arrow. I wanted something really unique and dynamic, so I went for something like this, where the circle here is cutting out the edge of the arrow, and it actually gives an idea. You get to read the brief when it's out. Alright, so and then I'll do the same for the inside. Sorry, it has select. Ensure it doesn't touch other parts of the logo. Like, I mean, going in here, you see this is like throwing a ball into a house and it just bounces on the wall back to back. But don't leave the door open, because if you leave the door open, then you're going to mess it up. So leaving the door open means from here, if I go this way, then it messes the logo up. So undo that, and then you can continue just left clicking on the place. I left click and drag to keep on doing it, or you can just left click, move one. Try to do it gradually. If not, you might just make a mess of it, and you don't want to keep going back and forth with the logo. I plan to keep this video short, so I'm just going to proceed. So we have the two shapes. Now I'm going to go up here and choose my black, even though it's not that black. I'll click on this, and then I'll hold shift and delete the center. Now I don't want the center. I want to create a negative space of a logo inside this cloudy idea for the DreamHacks. All right, so I'll click on this on the move tool. After I've done that, hold shift, click on what you want to keep. So what do I want to keep here? The actual logo that I've done. You can see all these lines, these blue lines showing you here. They are telling you that there are more lines, and you only know when you hold shift. So by holding shift, I would hold shift and left click just once, because there's only one material here to hold, to keep back. So I'll click on it and you can see what happens. It selects the other ones, and then I can press backspace and it deletes it and gives us a perfect logo. All right, you can even curve the edges. These edges, if you want to curve them, you can curve them easily by holding Control. If you hold Control, you can easily just move them. All right, but now since it's not working, it's because they've gotten to its limit. All you have to do is hold Control, double tap on each of those nodes that you want to curve, and I probably would use 7 for this, or even more. Let's say we do 9. All right, you can do the same for this. Press 9. I'm double clicking, so if you hold Control, you see these nodes. Double click on the node and then you see this. You can press 9 and press OK, and I'll do the same for here. Actually, let me see 9. Okay, 9 is cool. Double click here, press 9, and that is it, guys. Our logo is built. All right, and you can right click and hide grids. You can hide the grids, and we have our logo. You can now reduce it. I would show the grids because I use the grids to actually tell where I'm to keep my text. So I'm going to type the text DreamWorks, and I'm going to choose a font. Let's use Grotex, space Grotex. Once I do this, I will go to Objects, go to Expand, and I turn the font into an object. This way you can't change the font again. Even though you resize it, it remains the same. All right, with this one, I'm going to align it so that it touches an equal part of what we've done, the grid. Now you can see it's inside a square. All right, this square is 216px by 216px, and then this I would bring it down this way. I'll count about 4 to 8 boxes. All right, whichever one works for you, and I can reduce it, but I would reduce this one, but it's quite big, so reduce this some more. Yeah, I like it 2 by 2 box. All right, then bring this in here, somewhere around here. I would increase it some more, touching there. All right, touching here. Let's see if this works. Okay, they're in the same box height now. So put this in here, and I definitely would reduce it some more, something like this. So sometimes I would divide the logo into 8, and then I would use 1 part or 2 parts to actually isolate it. But for this one, I'm using 4 boxes, 1, 2, 3, 4 as the spacing for clear space for this logo. So select this, give it this black color, hide the grid, hide grid, select both of them, press Ctrl G, and to center align it is to go to the alignment tool here, click on the alignment tool, click the horizontal align center and vertically align center. Click on this, delete it, and I usually reduce it. The font is not the font, the actual font for the DreamWorks identity, so I'm just leaving that out of the video. All right, for copyright purposes. All right, so we have this, and that is it, guys. That is how you can move your logo from this to this in 24 minutes. All right, guys, I hope you found that helpful, and if you did, you can share these videos with whoever would need it. I promise to bring more videos, probably breaking down some of the sections in Illustrator for you guys, and do let me know in the comment section, because I'm always interested in what you guys put out in the comment section to see what I can do next to break it down in a way that you would understand it. And if you have any more clarifications, you can always text me on Twitter at Davio White, DAVIOWHITE, Davio White, and I definitely would give a response to whatever issue you're having. Until I see you guys again, stay safe. Bye for now.